Hey guys, how you doing today? You get a day off, you do two in one day, right? That's the way of it. I think this one's going to be the longer one. Update on World War III as it unfolds. Joe Biden just announces that they are going to pull troops out of Yemen, right? They're going to pull resources out of Yemen. They're going to pull, they're going to stop weapons sales, relevant weapons sales to continue the war on Yemen. Lots of leftists are reporting this as if it's like a really great thing, and it is a great thing. It's a great thing that we are loosening our grip on destroying Yemen. But the reality is that America can afford to do this. America can afford to loosen its grip on Yemen because it's basically destroyed it. It's undergone a massive famine. They've killed 175,000 people in Yemen. It is the ongoing... there's many. It's one of the major tragedies of this unfolding World War III. It likely didn't have to happen, as most of this is true when it comes to the United States and their ongoing war on basically the entire world. I think the thing that really tipped me into starting this video right now is I was watching The Rational National, who I respect. I follow him and I admire the work that he does. He's presenting this as if this is a win, that Joe Biden is like, yeah, he's doing a great thing. I think that he is just redistributing resources. The Democrats are just as warlike and bloodthirsty as the Republicans. They are fighting a war simultaneously. It has destroyed Iraq. It has absolutely destroyed Afghanistan. It has absolutely destroyed Libya. They are going to continue destroying places. It's destroyed Yemen. It's destroyed Oman. Like, I mean, they're not suddenly going, all of this destruction is actually bad. No, this is an ongoing, unfolding war. They are redistributing resources, I fear. Where are they redistributing resources to? Probably Venezuela, right? That what we are seeing here is simply a prelude to a larger invasion on the shores, the North Shore of South America, right at Venezuela. It's the only thing that really makes sense, given... Like, as soon as you acknowledge that the two sides are indeed the same, they work for the same people, they work towards the same goals, and that this will be just a redistribution of military power, rather than continuing to pour resources into Yemen, or even into places like Syria, the Biden administration is gearing up for what looks to be, in my opinion, a full-scale invasion into Venezuela. At least some kind of military operations on Venezuela. And I think that this administration is, their primary objective through this particular administration is the seizing of power and control of Venezuela. So, once you put those two pieces together, right? Like, once you start to see that, okay, we're no longer going to be dropping bombs on Yemen. We're no longer going to be dropping troops in Yemen, right? But those troops, we're not just going to send those troops home. There's a war on, right? Those troops will be redeployed, and they will be redeployed in a primary offensive into Venezuela. This is how I see it, and this is what I see happening. And should it not happen, that would be my preference. That would fully be my preference. I don't like to make predictions. I honestly don't. Outside of the ones that are for fun. Like this hashtag Wall Street Bet stuff, guys, is for fun. It's super fun. Tomorrow, I think I might actually be able to get some money that goes through. And I'm going to buy like 3 shares and see what happens. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think everybody should have 1 share of this. I think everybody on the whole planet should just buy 1 share of this. What's the absolute worst thing that happens if you buy 1 share of this? Right now it's $50, right? 50 bucks for this slingshot to the moon thing. Let's go. Anyway, Wall Street bets, that's for a whole other video. You can tell why these videos go long. World War III as it is unfolding, right? Like, we know internally that the Biden administration has been talking about the invasion of Venezuela. We know that the war, ongoing and unfolding war in the Middle East, is actually kind of at a standstill at the moment. The places that have been destroyed there and dominated there are the places that needed to have been destroyed and dominated. And from the American perspective, a war with Iran would be politically costly, I think, is the way to put it. Because most of the rest of the world views Iran as cooperating. And when I say the rest of the world in this sense, it's the rest of the world that the United States acknowledges as worth listening to. That would be Europe, Canada. Yeah, that's essentially it, actually. Europe and Canada are really the only two places that America is even willing to listen to or tolerate. Everybody else, like, is just a third-class citizen, right? By their own rules. They're in the third world, right? That third world dynamic has never changed. So they're not only a tier down in terms of class, they're 2 tiers down, so you can do what you want with them. But Iran also has pretty close connections to China and Russia, and it's kind of on their home front, right? Like, for America to actually get reinforcements and actually get people into Iran should a war break out, you're looking at some pretty major military actions and lots of distance. And China and Russia can easily begin a proxy war, right? They can easily get people and get what they need into Iran. They're closer. Even if they just go by the sea, right? And to pretend like China doesn't have like a significant military force or a significant navy. Like, this is why America was ultimately forced to trade with China instead of just destroy it and dominate it, which is what they like to do. And you can see them do it. But so Iran is a dangerous gambit. And the reality is that victory in Iran doesn't mean that much to America. Sure, it has oil, right? Sure, it does. You know what place has oil that is like right on your back door? Like right in your back door. It's like just a little bit farther away than Cuba, right? It's just a little bit farther away from Cuba, right? Is Venezuela. Donald Trump had said this. But Donald Trump was not willing to actually put organizational power behind it, right? Donald Trump was, like, in many ways, Donald Trump's just like an idea guy, and a lot of times his ideas sound really stupid, but sometimes there's an interesting idea in there. And if you are an imperialist destroyer, if you go in and you just want to consume everything and enslave populations the way that America does and is clearly interested in doing, then Venezuela is just this like little fruit, this little plum for them to pick and eat. And they have seeded the soil for this war, right? They've seeded the soil for this war. They've had propagandists like John Oliver, right? John Oliver's propaganda against Venezuela is criminal, in my view, what he did when he slandered Venezuela and slandered what was happening there and pretended like it was a dictatorship when it's obviously a democracy that has merit, right? And in the upcoming Venezuelan elections, I mean, if there aren't UN ambassadors watching the election, then my guess tells me that that will be the prelude to war, that the Americans will use the election as the opportunity to declare the election rigged or illegal or something like that. And guys, remember, like, for a long time, most of the rest of the world was still saying that Guaido is, Canada is still saying that Guaido was the elected leader. And Canada, so Canada's just in lockstep with the Americans on this. Guaido, if you're not familiar with what's happening in Venezuela, Guaido is the figure who lost the last election. He can't win an election in Venezuela, and yet declared himself the winner, even though he lost the election. And then the United States also declared him the winner, and then Canada declared him the winner, and then Europe declared him the winner. Europe has recently come off of that. Europe has recently come off of that and has said that, no, the EU acknowledges that the Venezuelan leader, the proper Venezuelan leader, whether we like it or not, is Nicolas Maduro, right? And I think that's because they understand that the United States is gearing up for a war in Venezuela. And you can complain and whine as much as you like about what's going on in Venezuela and their improvements, and you can critique from afar if you would like. But nobody should ever be saying out loud that a war in Venezuela is going to be good for the citizens, right? Like, unless you're someone like John Bolton, who's absolutely out of his mind, right? John Bolton has been talking about this war for a long time. John Bolton wants this war. He's been pretty upfront about it, right? He's not like, and I really do think that this is the strategic move that they're doing, that they're taking resources out from everywhere else and they're going to funnel it into a war with Venezuela, because that's where the oil is and that's what they want to do. And they want to create a humanitarian disaster in Venezuela. And right now, I think that they have political sway with Brazil's government. Brazil's government is still a fascist government, unless I'm mistaken. Like, unless they've recently done something about this. I haven't been paying 100% attention to Brazil, but I should. Like, Brazil is a huge territory. It's a powerhouse in the region. And recently it was under control by just a straight up fascist. Hold on. Brazilian leadership. Yeah, Bolsonaro, right? He's still there. Bolsonaro's straight up just like an eco-fascist. He's open about it, right? And the United States is for sure going to use him as an ally in this when they invade Venezuela, right? The fascists don't want a successful socialist state on their border. The fascists aren't interested in that. The fascists are going to do everything they can to destroy Venezuela. And it's going to be this, they're going to create another Yemen, right? We're talking for the last like 4 or 5 years now, 3-4 years now, that Yemen is like the largest humanitarian disaster in the world. Well, guess what Venezuela is going to be? Like, guess what it's going to be? And I genuinely don't hear anybody on the left actually really bringing that up and really mentioning that. Like, lots of moves have been made against Venezuela. Lots of conversation has been swirling around Venezuela. And when I look at the United States making the rare and unlikely decision that they are pulling out of a region, and then to see leftists say, oh, they're pulling out of that region for good purposes. I just worry that it's because leftists kind of blind themselves with sort of a blind hope that, oh, the reason why powerful people are doing this is for good reasons. They have seen the error of their way. They see how fruitless this endeavor is. They genuinely do care about the people who live in the third world, right? Even though historically they have continuously voted and have continuously worked to continuously crush people who live in these regions. And I don't know why anyone would believe that Venezuela is immune to such thing, right? Why would anyone believe that Venezuela is immune to carpet bombing and invasions, right? And the justification for the war in Venezuela will be that Nicolas Maduro lost an election he won. That's what it's going to be. And it'll be just like Iraq, right? Like, it'll be just like Iraq, where the rest of the world stands up and says, we are not participating in this war. And the United States goes, nah, well, too bad, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? And the answer is that nobody's going to do anything about it, because no one can do anything about it, right? The United States is this like monolithic monster on the world stage. The best that the best solution that some nations have discovered to fight back against the United States and fight back against their aggression and their wars and the death machine that they actually are, is to build and hold nuclear bombs and tell the United States that if you come into this territory, we will nuke you. And if that means you have to nuke us, then so be it. And the United States, so it's this the strategy of mutual self-destruction that keeps American troops out of Russia and China and other regions. But we can't do anything if it decides to pick on somebody like Venezuela. Like, Venezuela's small fish, right? Like Venezuela, for God's sakes, what's the population of Venezuela? Like, I'm pretty sure Venezuela's population, it's a bit smaller than the population of Canada, right? Canada's population is 36 million people, 37 million people. And so we've got 9 million people more than Venezuela at 28.5 million, right? So they've got a small population. If the United States decided to move in there, like what are we supposed to say about that? Not a dang thing. Like, not a dang thing. They're gonna go in there with their drones and with their bombers and with and they're just going to absolutely destroy this place. Because at the end of the day, they want the oil. And they're going to get the oil. And if the Venezuelan government isn't going to provide them that oil more easily than it does, then they're just going to go take it. And they're going to take all of these resources, and they're going to take anything. And I don't understand why anyone would think they would do anything but this. Right? Like, America is a demon. Like, America is a demon. Like, here in Canada, like, we're fairly well aware that if the United States put its eye upon us and decided that it wanted to take us over, it would happen very quickly, and we would likely just lay down arms and just be like, okay, you wanted us, here we are, right? Because we don't want carpet bombing our cities, we don't want any of that they're more than willing to do in places like Venezuela. They're more than willing to do this. And so here in Canada, we have just kind of sucked up to America. Because you have to. Like, you have to. You gotta be buddy-buddy with this guy, right? You gotta be nice. You gotta be trading. You gotta go along with this stupid shit, right? You gotta, oh yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, sure. Guaido. Yeah. Guaido. Yeah. You gotta be like that. Because if the American war machine is attacking someone else, that means that they are not attacking you. And that's the reality of the Canadian position right now. It does mean this transfer of arms, like, just watch. It'll take no time whatsoever, right? The Trudeau administration will stop selling arms to Saudi Arabia because the Americans are no longer selling arms to Saudi Arabia for Yemenis extermination purposes. And they're just going to turn around and they're going to start selling arms into Venezuela, right? Into the place where, into the freedom fighters, or whatever name they're going to give the people who are in Venezuela fighting alongside with American troops that will land there. And, like, the Americans are just going to blow the place up. Because Venezuela's in the third world, right? The socialist government of Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro did everything they could to improve the lives of the least fortunate, and were successful in improving the lives of the least fortunate in Venezuela. But capital doesn't give a crap about that at all, right? Capital doesn't give a crap about these people. They live in the third world. They're just in between us and the oil. And because of America's addiction to oil, and because it understands that the more oil it can hoard now, the longer it can keep this sort of necromantic ritual going, right? And let me I I say that kind of stuff, and people, I can tell, just look at me like, what the hell are you talking about, necromantic? But like, really think about it, guys. Like, we are taking the bones of our ancestors, right? Crushed corpses, crushed carbon, right? Turns into oil over time. We are taking the bones of our ancestors and we are putting it into machines that we have built in order to give ourselves superhuman and supernatural powers, in order to go at speeds that no human could travel, in order to fly, in order to fly, like in order to attain space flight, in order to go to the moon, right? In order to do all kinds of things that humans simply couldn't do. And we're all doing it by burning the bones of our ancestors. And so when I say that we're engaged in like a necromantic ritual, this is what I'm talking about, right? This full-scale just necromancy that we're committing, where and when you burn the bones of your ancestors, they don't seem to like it. And they will gladly just take over the atmosphere upon which you rely and then heat the place up until it is a desert. And that's the structure that we are involving ourselves in. And we are willing to invade and destroy places in order to secure our hold on oil. And the invasion of Venezuela is going to make it as naked as it possibly can be. Because Nicolas Maduro is going to win the next election. And then the Americans are going to take the resources that they have transferred out of Yemen, which they just destroyed, right? Like, they were very much involved in the destruction of Yemen. And they are going to focus it on Venezuela and create another Yemen there. I wish that more leftists, I do wish that somebody like the Rational National would actually pick up on this idea. I wish that people would talk about that more openly, that America is shifting its gaze onto Venezuela because it knows that it's done as much damage as it possibly can throughout the Middle East, and that more troop actions there are not going to secure it more oil. An invasion on Venezuela will. It's going to be very depressing to see. I hope it doesn't happen. Like, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope that the Joe Biden administration is just one where he's just deciding, oh yeah, you know, let's pull troops out of Yemen. Let's pull troops out of this place and that place, and let's grind this war machine down. That's not what's going to happen. Does that sound right to you? Do you genuinely believe that the Democrats are just steadily interested in grinding the war machine down? Do you think that they're genuinely interested in taking troops out of places to like slow the war effort? Do you think that they're genuinely interested in granting independence back to places like Iraq? Like, do you genuinely believe that the Democrats who extended the Bush war, right? 2 wars under Bush, 5 more under Obama, right? Like, and Joe Biden was the vice president under Obama when they extended the wars. Libya, one of the largest humanitarian disasters that nobody seems to talk about at all, happened under Obama. Clinton cackled about it. And so this is what I think the Americans are doing. And because, like, they're not going to put any aid into Yemen. The place is a dust hole. They can abandon it now. Like, they've destroyed it. Like, it's going to take an entire generation for Yemen to recover, to be involved in any kind of threat to someone like Saudi Arabia, right? Yemen is probably never going to recover from the destruction that it has had unleashed on it. So why keep anything there? Just move them out. Stop pouring money into it, right? Job done. Mission accomplished. There's other victories. There's other victories to be had. World War III. What a truly depressing time. World War III is unfolding. Well, it has been unfolding for quite some time. I mean, I don't know what else you should call it. Like, the entire world is involved in it. Yeah, okay. This is going to be the end of me on this one, guys. If you made it to this point on this video, for real, you got to subscribe to this channel, right? I do this kind of stuff all the time. I'm doing World War III updates as they, you know, come, as the news unfolds on them. I hope it doesn't go this way. I hope that I am wrong. But please subscribe, and we can go through me being wrong on that together. I would very much like to do that. Please do hit the like button. The like button is... Oh no, my camera is all weird now. Oh goodness. The like button is right there? Is it there? I think it's there. Yeah, the like button is there. The share button is right there. Please share that around. Show some people you like. And hey, what the heck? I've got a Patreon down below. If you've got $1. If you've got $1 and just like a little moment to set up a Patreon account, right? I could really use $1, especially today. I'd feel pretty good about myself if somebody gave me $1. Okay, guys. I love you all. Good luck. God bless you. Go smoke a doob. High five a giraffe. Find a monkey. Laugh with a friend that you've never known before. Say hello to strangers. Everything you're doing is probably right. You're doing very well, I'm sure of it. Don't let people gaslight you, right? Don't let them gaslight you, because they will 100% gaslight you. Pray for Venezuela. Good luck. We're going to need it.